Hello, it's Danny from Geocene. In this video, I'll be doing a walkthrough of version 2 of the Geocene mobile application. In order to download the new mobile application, go to the Google Play Store and search for Geocene. If you already have the version 1 app installed, the Google Play Store will say Update, otherwise it will just say Install. Press Update to update the Geocene mobile app. You can press Open from Google Play or find the Geocene app in your apps. I've made a shortcut here on my home screen. Be sure to be connected to the internet when you first open the new Geocene mobile app. You'll need the internet to log in. Type your username and password and sign in to the version 2 of the Geocene app. This is the last time you'll need internet to use the Geocene mobile app, except for when you're trying to sync data to and from the cloud. The Geocene mobile app will pull up a list of available dots, and you can press the refresh button in case you would like to refresh the list of dots that are nearby. Along with the new Geocene version 2 mobile app, we have a new updated version of the Geocene dot. You'll see that this dot has a special pipe for LED light, as well as a different kind of wire gland to keep water out of the case. Also, this new Geocene dot has a larger, easier to read sticker on the bottom, and for some customers, there'll be an auxiliary second sticker on the side of the case. To connect to a dot, find the dot you're looking for in the Geocene app. As you can see, this dot is not showing up in the Geocene app. The reason this dot is not showing up in the Geocene app is because it is a brand new Geocene dot. When you first receive your Geocene dots in the mail, they'll be in a ship mode. This shipping mode is a very low power mode where the Geocene dot does not advertise over Bluetooth. To wake up your Geocene dot, simply push and hold the button for about 5 seconds. When the Geocene dot wakes up, you'll see the LED flash and you'll hear a noise. Then you can see this Geocene dot, dot 2727, has shown up in the list of available Geocene dots. Connect to your Geocene dot by finding its name in the list of available dots. This dot's name is dot 2727. You can change this name later on if you like. The sequence of letters and numbers below the dot's default name is the dot's ID. This is an ID that uniquely identifies this dot, and it cannot be changed. We also see how much storage is left in the dot. This one is 0% full, so all of its room is left, how strong its signal is, and how much battery is left. Connecting to the dot, we can see the current temperature. If we want to demonstrate the probe, we can hold the probe and warm it up and see that the current temperature will start to rise. If we want, we could also test the probe using a flame. The Geocene probes are rated for continuous use up to 400 degrees Celsius and can sustain very short periods up to roughly 800 or 900 degrees Celsius, but we do not recommend this for long-term use. Please place your Geocene probes such that their peak temperature does not regularly exceed 400 to 500 degrees Celsius. When you're connected to your Geocene dot, you will see that the LED blinks blue. It's blinking blue because it's connected over Bluetooth. You may not want your Geocene dot to make any sounds, such as beeping from the button or blinking from the LED. To change this, click on the Settings menu, and you can turn off the LED, and you can turn off the sounds. Your Geocene dot will now make no sound and no blinks. If you would like to turn this back on, go back to Settings, enable the LED, and enable sound. Sometimes you may connect to a Geocene dot, but be unsure which dot you connected to. If you connect to a dot and you're not sure which of many dots in a room you're currently connected to, press the ringer button, and this will cause the Geocene dot to sing a song to let you know which dot you're connected to. If you would like to start a mission on your Geocene dot, press the Start button. You'll get an error or an alert message that says, Start mission. This will clear the dot. Are you sure? The way the Geocene dots work, they can only store data from one mission at a time. When you start a new mission, all of the data from your previous mission will be erased. So make sure that you've downloaded all of this data and that it's synced to the cloud before you start new missions. Here we have the Mission Settings menu. In the Mission Settings menu, you can change the dot's name for the mission, the name of the mission, and add the mission to campaigns, as well as set sampling intervals, add notes, and tags. The default name of the dot is the name that's listed on the sticker on the bottom of the dot. However, you could change this name if you like. You can change the name by clicking here and adjusting the name of the dot. Also, the default mission name is the dot's name, and then there's a space, a pipe, another space, and the current date and time. This is the default name of the mission, but you could change this to whatever you like. For example, my mission. Your list of available campaigns will be shown under the Campaigns section. I will add this dot to a campaign called Happen Testing. You may notice, as soon as I selected the Happen Testing campaign, a new question came up called Household ID. For Happen, the household ID must be a 5-number code. So, let me type 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Watch what happens if I accidentally press a 6th number. The code is limited to 5 numbers, so this has just changed to 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I want it to make sure it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Done. So, when you enter a household ID like this, what it will do is generate a tag. Lower down in this system, you can see that the tag that was generated is called Household ID 12345. That tag was automatically generated by filling out the household ID question. The next question asks whether or not this household is an intervention household, meaning, will this household receive an intervention stove? If I say yes, a new question arises. Is the intervention cook stove installed? A household that's an intervention household may not yet have its intervention cook stove installed. In this case, I'll say no. Although this is an intervention household, the intervention cook stove is not installed. The next question asks about stove type. What type of stove is this Geocene dot currently attached to? This should match up with the H40 form used by Happen. In this case, I will say that this is an intervention household with no intervention stove, and this Geocene dot is currently mounted to a biomass stove / plancha with chimney, Imabura or Cucina Meadora, or category 2 of the stove type on H40. The default sample interval is set to 5 minutes and 0 seconds. You can change this by scrolling these wheels. However, the happen default sample interval and the sample interval you should likely use is 5 minutes and 0 seconds. If you want to add notes to your mission, you can add them like this. And you will notice that the tags section includes all the relevant tags from the questions we answered. Household ID, intervention household is yes, intervention stove installed is no, and stove type, chimney. Chimney is just shorthand for category 2, which is all stoves of biomass stove, plancha with chimney, imbabura or cocina mejorada type stoves. If you would like to add another tag, you can do that by typing here. Enter or the spacebar will generate that new tag. As soon as your mission is ready and you've filled out all these questions, you can press Start Mission. The mission is now started, and your Geocene dot, which is on a mission called My Mission, part of the campaign Happen Testing, sampling every 5 minutes with notes, my notes, and the following tags, it's going to record data every 300 seconds, in other words, every 5 minutes. That means that the memory will last for 682 days before it's full. To disconnect from your Geocene dot, press the Android back button, and you'll go back to the list of all of your available dots. You'll notice now dot 2727, the dot that we just started a mission on, now shows that it's running instead of idle. Before we started the mission, the dot was just sitting there, waiting for something to do. In other words, it was idle, and now it's running. Because we just started this mission and it's only sampling once every 5 minutes, there's not a lot of interesting data to download from it. But I have another dot here called dot E030. This dot has been running for a while. Let me click on it. And I can download data from this .E030 dot. To download data, connect to the dot, press the download button. After the data is downloaded, a chart of recent data will load. This chart is simpler and easier to use than the chart on the previous Geocene app. The chart always shows the full temperature range of the dot from -100°C up to 500°C, and you can scan left and right like this. Here we see that the temperature of the dot has been roughly 20 degrees Celsius, except for here, somewhere between 0620 at 1755 and 0620 at 1757, there was a large spike in temperature. And that was due to me putting a flame on the tip of the thermocouple probe on dot E030. You will also notice that there's a yellow highlight on that dot. That yellow highlight shows that the temperature exceeded 500 Celsius. In other words, the temperature got too hot. When you see these yellow regions, that means you should move the probe of your Geocene dot to a cooler area of the stove. As I scroll back through time, I don't see any other events that have happened recently. Just this one right about there. When I press done, I can either stop the mission or disconnect from the dot. If I accidentally press end mission, and I don't mean to end the mission, I can press cancel, and there will be no harm. If I do want to end the mission, I can confirm by pressing stop mission. You'll notice the mission is stopped now, but I'm still able to download data from this mission. You can stop your missions and download the data after the mission is stopped, but you are not able to restart the mission. Here again is the chart, and you can see there's that same data we just saw before. There is a new and important screen on the new Geocene app. It's called the data screen. Currently, all data is synced, so there's no data on the data screen. But if I turn off my Wi-Fi in this room, and then I go and I connect to, say, .2727, and I download some data from that dot. There's not much to look at because it hasn't been recording for very long. What I'll see in the data menu is that my mission has some data that's pending syncing. Similarly, these dots this mobile app will generate data anytime you connect to a dot. So let's say I just connect to .E030. If I don't download the data, I can still get information about the dot, like what time I connected to it, and is it currently running a mission. This kind of data also tries to sync with the Geocene servers. If I disconnect from .E030 and we go to the data menu, you can see we now have data pending for my mission and .E030 mission. If we want to sync this data with the Geocene servers, we need to connect to the internet. I'll turn my Wi-Fi back on. You can imagine this is like coming back to the office after a day of working in the field. And after a day of working in the field, you might have tens or hundreds of these pending pieces of data ready to sync with the Geocene server. Connect to this screen and press the upload button. That data will attempt to upload with the Geocene server, and once it is successfully uploaded, you'll see a success. If you navigate away and back to the data screen, all successful uploads have disappeared. So when you see this blank screen, that means you have no pending data and everything is fully synced up with Geocene's cloud. You may find that you need to change the battery of your dot during a mission. If you need to do this, it's no problem. Just open up the dot and swap the batteries. You'll be able to restart the mission later. I'll show you how to do this now. This is .2727. This dot is currently running a mission, as we can see here. While it's running the mission, I'll open up the case. Removing the 4 screws, being sure to keep track of these screws. And it's no problem. You can just take the batteries out of the case. You may find it's helpful to use a screwdriver or a set of keys. Take those batteries out. Now that the batteries are out, we can see that if we refresh the list of dots, .2727 will not show up on the list. We put the new batteries back into the case. When the batteries snap in, we hear the dot go beep, 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 indicating that it's powered up. And then we see .2727 appear back in the list of dots. .2727 is on a mission that's called a suspended mission. A suspended mission is a mission that was running that was interrupted for some reason. There's 2 ways missions can be suspended. They could be suspended because the dot lost power, or they could be suspended because the dot ran out of memory. If your mission is suspended, you'll notice that the download button now says download and restart. Pressing download and restart will download all available data from the dot and restart the dot. This mission has very little data. In fact, you can only see a tiny little speck of data on the very left-hand side of the chart. But we have downloaded that data and restarted the mission, and now the mission is running again. Now we can download data just as we did before. Each time the dot restarts, it erases all of its local data. So if you have a suspended mission that needs to be restarted, you should know that after it downloads and restarts the dot, the new data available on the dot for download will not include the old data that was deleted after the dot was restarted. There's also a new feature in the new mobile app and the new dots, and that's the ability to detect a missing thermocouple. If your thermocouple becomes damaged, or disconnected while in service, you may notice that when you connect to the dot, you'll see this error. This error indicates that the dot is running, but the thermocouple is disconnected or damaged. If you approach a dot in the field that is facing this kind of error, you should check the connection of the thermocouple and potentially replace the thermocouple. In this case, I'm going to replace this thermocouple with another. To replace the thermocouple, disconnect the wires from the connector on the inside of the case, loosen the wire gland, and pull the old thermocouple out of the dot. This thermocouple is a probe style thermocouple that I'll be replacing with a ring terminal style thermocouple. I take this new thermocouple and place its wires through the wire gland. I like to pull the wires up inside the case so I have plenty of room to work. And then there's a plus and a minus side of that connector. I'll put the wires into the connector. I'll put them in the wrong way and show you what happens. If I put the wires in the wrong way, the app actually doesn't know that the thermocouple's in backwards. In fact, it says it's 24.1 degrees C right now. But watch what happens if I grab onto the tip of the thermocouple. The thermocouple should be warming up, but instead, let me get my fingers warm. Instead of warming up, the thermocouple's cooling down. You can see this in an even more extreme way if I add some fire to the thermocouple. So instead of the temperature going up, the temperature goes down, and that confirms to us we put the thermocouple in backwards. So, disconnect the wires of the thermocouple and reverse them. Now the thermocouple is in the correct direction, and if we apply the flame, we can see the temperature goes up as expected. Pull any excess wire through the wire gland and tighten the wire gland down just to thumb tightness. You don't need a wrench to do this. Close the case, screw the case shut with all 4 screws. It's important to use all 4 screws to ensure that the case remains waterproof, or at least water resistant. And now your dot is ready to continue on its mission. I'll press the Android back button to go back to the list of dots, and dot 2727 is running again with its thermocouple connected the right way and ready to continue collecting data. I'm Danny from Geocene, and thanks for watching this training video.